Hello and welcome back to CKLA Unit 3, our study of the human body, and we're on Lesson 4 today, and we're going to study the muscular system. By the end of today, you should be able to identify different components of the muscular system, as well as how the muscular system is a part of a larger interconnected system. You should also be able to read and answer comprehension questions about the body's muscular system. So let's review before we get started. Remember that the various human body systems are all interconnected, and we started out by talking about the skeletal system. And we talked specifically about some groups of bones. Do you remember what this group of bones is called? Yes, our axial bones. They are the skull, the rib cage, and the vertebrae that make up our backbone. These bones are all in the center of our body. They support our human body, and they protect the most important organs in our body. Do you remember these bones that are highlighted in this light green? Yes, they are our appendicular bones. These are the bones that make up our arms and legs, and they hang from their axial bones. Now, let's talk about joints. The three types of joints that we've talked about were movable, immovable, and partially movable. What do you remember about each of those three types of joints? Movable joints allow for movement in many different directions. Movable joints are categorized in either ball and socket joints, which are found in our hips and shoulders, or our hinge joints, which are found in our jaw, knees, ankles, wrists, elbows, and knuckles. We also talked about immovable joints. Immovable joints permit no movement at all. The bones all lock together, and they are mainly found in our skull. The last joint we talked about was partially movable joints. These joints allow the bones to move just a little bit, and they're found in our ribs. Think about what cartilage and ligaments are and why they are important to our skeletal system. Cartilage is important because it covers bones where they meet in joints. This protects the bones and helps them to last longer. Ligaments are important because they hold the bones together. They are very stretchy and help prevent injuries. Now, let's start by thinking, what do we already know about muscles? These are the things that we would put in the K section of a KWL chart. So what are some things you already know about muscles? Now let's move on to the W section. What are some things we want to know about muscles? Questions that we have, things that we are wondering. We would put those underneath the W of our KWL chart. Think about your muscles while you're thinking about things that you want to know. Are all of your muscles' actions able to be seen? Let's start with some vocabulary. Cardiac muscle is the muscular tissue of the heart that contracts rhythmically and continuously, and you see it circled there in the yellow. Without the cardiac muscle of the heart, our blood would not be able to be pumped throughout the body, and the body would not be able to function. Contract means to bring together, to shorten, or to tighten. An earthworm must contract its body to move itself from one place to another. Muscles is body tissue made of long cells that can contract or tighten and then relax to produce motion. Exercise is very important to keep muscles healthy. Nerves. Nerves are bundles of fibers throughout the body that transmit sensations, information, and instructions to the brain. Those are all the nerves highlighted in blue there. The nerves in my fingertips sent information to my brain to know that the water was hot. Voluntary muscles are muscles that can be controlled by someone's own choice. Mahita contracted the voluntary muscles in her arm to bend her elbow. Involuntary muscles are muscles that cannot be controlled by choice. Like you see here in our heart, we don't decide that our heart should beat, it just does it. It does it involuntarily. An example of an involuntary muscle is a cardiac muscle of the heart because we do not need to think about making it contract in order for it to do its job. Vulnerable, able to be hurt or injured. If athletes did not wear helmets when they played contact sports, their heads would be vulnerable to serious injury. So let's think about our purpose for listening today before we start with Ricardo. We need to listen carefully to learn about our muscular system. How is the muscular system interconnected with other body systems? And what are the different types of muscles in the human body? Hi guys, it's me, Ricardo. Last time we were together, I told you that our next discussion would be about a system that works extremely well with your skeletal system. Did any of you predict the name of the system we're going to talk about today? If you predicted the muscular system, you are correct. You've learned how the bones in your skeletal system are connected from head to toe. Bones form the important framework of your body, but they cannot move without the help of your muscles. What do you see in this image? Yes, we see a man running, and then we also see the muscular version of this man running. But what are muscles? The word muscle comes from the Latin word musculus. The word musculus means little mouse. It is thought that a long time ago somebody observed muscle movement under the skin and thought it looked like a little mouse moving underneath, and that's how muscles got their name. Muscles are made up of bundles of long, thin cells, and you can see here the arrows pointing to those muscles. They are controlled by signals that come from your brain and spinal cord, which carry messages through nerves to every part of your body. Muscles receive these messages telling them when to contract or tighten, how to contract, and for how long. When muscles contract, they squeeze together, shortening and causing movement. Muscles are at work in your body all the time, even when you are sleeping. You have more than 650 muscles in your body, making up between 1/3 and 1/2 of your body weight. There are 3 types of muscles in your body, but most of them are skeletal muscles. Your skeletal muscles work closely with your bones to give them mobility or motion. Just as there are axial bones and appendicular bones, there are axial muscles and appendicular muscles. Which muscles do you think are axial? Right, the ones in your head, your neck, and your torso. And where are the appendicular muscles located? Yes, in your arms and legs. Most muscles work in pairs. Muscles only pull on bone, they cannot push. As your muscles pull on bone, they contract or get shorter. In order to relax or lengthen, muscles need a partner to pull the bone in the opposite direction. Paired muscles never pull at the same time. One pulls, the other relaxes. One relaxes, the other pulls. Look at this picture of your muscles in your upper arm. It shows what happens when you make a fist and bend your arm. The bicep muscle contracts and bends your elbow while your tricep muscle relaxes. When you straighten your arm out again, your tricep muscle contracts and your bicep muscle relaxes. By working in pairs, taking turns pulling on your bones, the skeletal muscles enable you to ride a bike, play the guitar, or climb a mountain. Skeletal muscles come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, fat and skinny, long and circular. Because you control your skeletal muscles, deciding when and how you want to move your bones, they are called voluntary muscles. The movement does not happen automatically. You make a conscious decision to move the muscles attached to your bones. Narrow, rope-like tissues called tendons attach bones to muscles. You can see the tendons under your skin if you flex your arm back and forth. Try it. Bend your elbows if you wanted to show off your muscles, and feel the tendon just under the skin on the inside of your elbow. What are other good places to view your tendons in action? Try looking at someone's neck. Can you find the tendons as he or she turns his or her head? Can you find the tendons in your arms or legs? The muscles in your legs are the largest and strongest skeletal muscles in your body. One of these muscles is your calf muscle. See if you can feel your calf muscle at the back of your lower leg. Your calf muscle is responsible for much of your movement, helping to bend your knee when you walk or run. It is attached to your heel bone by the longest and most powerful tendon in your body, the Achilles tendon. If your Achilles tendon is cut or torn, the use of the leg for jumping and running is lost immediately until it heals. An ancient Greek legend has long been told about the Achilles tendon as a figurative phrase to indicate our weak spots or places where we feel most likely to be hurt, either physically or emotionally. This is the myth of the Achilles. Who can tell me what a myth is? Yes, but this myth goes something like this. Long ago in ancient Greece, a baby was born. According to custom, his mother held him by the heel and dipped his body into the river Styx. Now, the river Styx is not a real river on Earth. It is a mythical river believed by the ancient Greeks to be located between Earth and the underworld. It was thought that the waters of this powerful river could make a person invincible, unable to be defeated in battle. Achilles grew up to be a warrior, and indeed the river's power seemed to protect him from injury throughout many battles. However, there was one spot on his body that the waters had not touched. It was the spot where his mother had held him, Achilles' heel. He was finally killed when an arrow pierced his heel, his one vulnerable spot. From then on, people have referred to their own area of weaknesses as their Achilles' heel. Poor Achilles. Isn't it a shame he wasn't wearing some armored footwear? Oh well, it's only a myth. Let's move on and learn about the other types of muscles in your body. In addition to skeletal muscle, there is smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. Are you ready for another riddle? I am a muscle. Like music, I have a rhythm and a beat. I am protected by the rib cage. What am I? Does anyone know what type of muscle is contained in your heart? Smooth or cardiac? Your thick, powerful heart is made of cardiac muscle, the strongest muscle in your body, found only in your heart. Unlike skeletal muscle, healthy cardiac muscle never tires. It is continually contracting and relaxing, rhythmically pumping blood around your body all day and all night. Cardiac muscle is an involuntary muscle, meaning that you do not control its movement. Your brain controls how fast your heart beats without you even thinking about it. Why do you think that is important? Smooth muscle is a third type of muscle in your body. It is also involuntary muscle because you cannot consciously move smooth muscle. It contracts exactly like the skeletal muscles do, only much more slowly. Lining the walls of internal organs and blood vessels, smooth muscle uses less energy than skeletal muscles. It squeezes and tightens, mixing and churning food in the stomach. It lines your lungs and blood vessels too. So this tells us that the muscular system and the digestive system are interconnected. The next time we meet, we'll talk about the system that controls all of your other body systems. This system controls both the voluntary and involuntary muscles in your body, and much more. Can you guess what system you will learn about next time? I'll see you next time, and we'll see if you've guessed correctly. Don't forget to take a look at my shirt for a clue. So let's discuss now that we've finished reading. What are muscles made of? They are made of bundles of long, thin cells. Why is the muscular system important to the human body? It helps the body move and do other things we cannot see, like the stomach and intestines digesting food and the heart pumping blood. It is the framework of the human body, together with the skeletal system. According to the Greek myth, why was Achilles' heel vulnerable? It was vulnerable because it was the one part of his body the water did not touch when his mother dipped him into the river Styx. And then what other systems are interconnected with the muscular system? That's right, the skeletal system, the nervous system, and the digestive system. All right, so let's do a little bit of word work. In the read aloud, you heard, because you control your skeletal muscles, deciding when and how you want to move your bones, they are called voluntary muscles. You also heard, cardiac muscle is an involuntary muscle, meaning that you do not control its movement. Say these words with me: voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles. Voluntary muscles are muscles that can be controlled by someone's own choice. Involuntary muscles are those muscles that cannot be controlled by your own choice. I use voluntary muscles in my legs to jump high in the air, but my heart is an involuntary muscle because I don't do anything to make it contract. It does it on its own. What are some examples of some other voluntary muscles? Can you think of any? What about other involuntary muscles? Be sure to use the words voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles when you tell about it. Let's talk about these words voluntary and involuntary. The difference between these two words is the prefix in. And when we add that prefix in or in to a word, it makes that word mean the opposite. So voluntary means that you choose to move it. Involuntary muscles are the ones that you cannot choose to move. Let's take a look at some other words. Visible. Visible means able to be seen, but invisible means not able to be seen. Edible means able to be eaten. Inedible means not able to be eaten. So what do you think inaccurate means? Now, don't forget to head back to your Canvas page and complete today's exit ticket about today's lesson, and then we will see you next time where we will talk about that new system that you saw hinted on Ricardo's shirt.